Hi, everyone. Welcome to another Dolphin Financial Radio Show. I'm Dan Wendell, host of the show, and today we're going to be talking about average 401k balances. What is the average 401k balance for, say, a 55-year-old? Is this important? We're going to talk about a recent survey that came out showing what the averages are across the country and where you might fit into it. People love to compare to each other. And I'm going to talk about what these are, but also why it's probably something that you shouldn't do. So, talking about shouldn't, let's bring in Tony. There he is. There shouldn't have brought you into the show, Tony, but I do.
Oh,
I
little
love
tear,
it.
just the
For the
tears
listeners,
slowly running
I'm
down.
gonna, I'm gonna jump the shark for the listeners, but take a look for the viewers. I've got a bunch of eggs behind me, Tony.
Yeah, I saw that, and we need to talk about that, Dan, because even Orthodox Easter is past. You're a little bit
I know.
behind there.
So I was looking for some pictures of different sized eggs, like ostrich and maybe a quail and duck,
Yeah,
but I didn't feel like spending too much time trying to come up with something witty. So I did pick this one, and you could see there's a bunch of different colored eggs, and there's that one white one on the top that's
yep,
not yet colored, and
yep.
it's different. So again, the whole point of today's show is to talk about your nest egg, right? There it is. I
People are
know, a
gonna
little corny,
the
a
nesting.
little
Well, I
corny.
just think we should be building a nest egg.
Yeah, Marge
What
Simpson
is your
says the
tax
same.
plan?
So, so we're going to talk about 401k balance. It's a good point bringing up the tax plan, Tony, because this means it's all taxable at some point.
That's
So I
right.
say
But
the bigger your 401k, the more taxes you're going to pay.
so we're
Theoretically.
not talking about Easter, folks. Even though if you're viewing on YouTube, you are looking at a big background of colored Easter eggs that Dan put up for some
Right.
reason.
What I'm trying to show is everyone's got a different size nest egg. A different
Uh-huh.
nest egg. We'll just say different. So,
Yeah.
so,
It almost worked, Dan. Don't
so
worry about it.
I want to talk about, because what I was doing, I was looking online to see what are people reading. And I found that the articles that say, here's what the average 40-year-old's 401k balance is. And you know that a lot of 40-year-olds are going to want to know what that is. Tony, you're close. You're in your 50s. What's the average 55-year-old's 401k balance? You're going to be interested in that, and
Yeah,
not
I am.
right. It's you're curious, right? So
Yeah,
it's
I
kind of
am.
clickbaity. It's a
When I saw that, I
clickbaity.
said,
Yeah,
"Hey, I'm close to that age. I'm
right.
close."
I picked
So
it for a reason, right? So I'm trying
I
to
figured.
engage you and get you interested in it. But this is what's been happening. Right? So people are actually wanting to know this and they're clicking on it. So if you look at the most read articles, what's trending, it's these types. What is the average nest egg for a 60-year-old? So on. So what I've done is I've taken this data from How America Saves 2021. This is Vanguard. They put out a survey every year, or what they do is they analyze. They have 4.7 million participants in Vanguard 401ks. And they anonymously take all that data and they crunch it out into this report. And you can get the report. There's the link. And I'm just going to highlight one piece of it. And that is, what is the average 401k balance for their participants and for
Okay.
people that are a certain age, right?
And I
So let's
trust
get into it.
Vanguard. Vanguard's a great source. So
Well, what's interesting is they have almost 5 million people in it. So it's a
yeah,
pretty good
it's huge.
representation of people in 401ks in general.
They didn't
Right.
just go to a mall and grab 150 people.
And it's not like, how
Whoever
much is
would.
your 401k? And I'd be like, 6 million, right? No, they're actually looking at the data. And
Right.
so they're not making this up.
Sure.
So the average 401k balance of all
Mhm.
participants in 2020. So this is 2021. They're using last year's data. This is 2022 now. So we're going to get the new survey for last year, 2021. But the most recent data they have is 129,157 is the average 401k balance.
Wow, at 55?
No, everybody.
Oh, that's average. Everybody. Okay.
The average 401k balance of all participants in the Vanguard is 129,000. Now, the median is 33,000. So of all
Ooh.
people. So let's talk about the difference between
That's
average
not
and
good.
median. And I
Mhm.
know you love math. I know not only do you love the numbers, but you love the word problems of math. So Tony,
Yeah,
do
I've
you
gotta
happen to know?
I've
Oh, he's
gotta
got to go.
go.
He's leaving, folks. I could see the sweat pouring off as soon as So for people
Whew.
that don't know the difference between median and average, and the reason why I put this up there is because there's a big point to be made.
Sure.
The median, the average is you take you'd say, all right, there's 5.7 million. Let's add it all together and divide by 5.71 million. That's the
Right.
average, right?
Yep.
The median is different. In this case, we line
Obviously, it's way lower. That's how it's
right.
different.
And why is it lower? Why is it lower? Because if you line up all of the 5.7 million people by balance. So you start with the one that has the smallest balance, which is probably $10, and you
Mhm.
work your way all the way up to the highest person that has, who knows, 500 million
Right.
in the 401k. And you go in order. At some point you'll reach a number in which there's 2.7 million people below you in average in total and 2.7 million above you in total. And that's the median. So it's the
That's
middle
the median.
number,
Yeah.
right?
The
So
middle number.
what that says is the middle number is 33. So that means half of the people have less than 33,000 and half the
Yeah.
people have more than 33,000.
Yeah. It's
So
the
you're like,
difference
"Oh, I'm
between
doing better than half."
average. Yeah, it's the difference between averages and percentages.
No, it's the difference between averages and median. The
Right.
average is
But median
129.
is more about a percentage. It's 50%. That's what
Right.
I'm saying.
It's where you fall in the range.
Yes.
Averages
See?
versus the range, right? So,
Yes.
useless information at this point, because what does that tell me? I wanna know,
Not
I'm
people don't
55.
have enough saved. People do not have enough saved for retirement is what that tells me.
Well, if you're 21 and you have 33,000, do you have enough?
Yeah, you're probably
If
doing
you're
okay.
62 and you have 33,000, do you have enough? Maybe. Maybe. See, that's the point, Tony. This is why people
Everybody's
love
situation is different.
right, right.
Punchline, it depends.
Let's cut to the chase. The average 401k balance
Mm,
for people ages 55 to 64 is 232,000. Now, I'm not the median is like 80 something, but here's why the median isn't really valuable is because what if Elon Musk's 401k was in this? He probably doesn't even have 401k, but let's say he someone had 5 billion in the 401k and they're
mhm.
in this mix. The average is going to be way higher. I mean, it's just going to be so skewed, but the median
Yeah,
would probably be the same,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So anyway, here it is. 232,000 is the average 401k balance for a 55 to 64-year-old.
It's
And
about what I would have guessed. I would have guessed 200,000 or 220,000.
so what does this tell us? Well, if you're looking at this and you're watching this YouTube show right now and you're 60 and you're saying I have 200 in my balance, I'm below average. That's what you could say. But what does that really tell you? I don't know. People like it. People like to know where they
It
stand.
it tells you 2 things. It tells you, number 1, you should probably start saving more. Number 2, you need to work with a financial services professional to see what your personal number should be, right? Based on your goals.
Right. And when it comes to people in 55 to 64, what are they really thinking about? They're thinking about retirement most likely.
Right.
And by the way, the 65 plus average 401k balance was lower, which makes sense because that's anyone over 65 and they're probably not working and contributing, so they're taking away from it, so it goes down.
Sure.
But
That makes
again, this
sense.
is only 401k. This doesn't factor in all the other things that you might have when it comes to wealth. You might have a savings, you might have a non-IRA balance, you might have
Or
home equity,
or you might not.
or you might not. You might have records,
You
LPs.
might instead, you might have an extensive, record collection
I'd
that
be
is
curious
very
what the
valuable.
average number of records owned. Do you think the average number of records owned by household is point zero one or higher?
Uh,
See, you'd be skewed. Okay,
oh, yeah,
the
I
size
would be
matters,
the
Tony.
Elon Musk of records, probably. No, I wouldn't be the Elon Musk. There are people out there that own warehouses full of
Right,
records.
right.
I've met
And you're
them.
jealous of them. You're jealous of them, admit it. No.
No,
Um,
because they have no social skills or life, but so I'm not
judgy,
totally jealous,
judgy,
but
judgy. So
oh.
does size matter, Tony? Does size matter? That's the question. The
When
age-old
it comes
question.
to your portfolio
401k?
balance, when it comes to your 401k, I would say yes, it does.
And I would say
It
no.
depends. You would say it depends. I know you would.
It would. It does. And that's the whole point of the show. Okay. So
Right.
someone watching is 55 saying, I want to retire in 8 years. I don't know, just making up numbers. And I have 300,000. I'm above the average for my age group, right? I'm 55 with 300,000 in my 401k. I'm doing great. Are you? Are you? Does the size of your 401k really matter? Okay, I'll give you to answer that. I'll give you a couple scenarios, Tony. A couple comes into me, couple A, Mary and John. They say, "Hey, Dan," and let's call them 62. Okay, and they're retired. Mary and John come in. They're 62. They have $500,000 in their 401k. They're in their retirement accounts, in their nest egg. Their egg has 500,000 in it, and they come to me and say, "Dan, we're a little nervous. 2022 hasn't started off so great. The market is tanking, for lack of a better word. 2021 was great. Don't get us wrong. We're retired, but we're nervous. We decided that we want to go on a trip, and so we're going to go on a cruise to the Mediterranean. And our daughter finally had the baby, and so we just spent a bunch of money to buy her some furniture. We painted the room, and we want to put a little bit of money in the baby's 529 for college. So I know we said we were only going to spend 25,000 from our nest egg this year, and because that's what we projected, we did a plan, but we're thinking that that might be 35,000 this year. So the market's going down. Do we take from the market while it's going down? We're a little concerned. We're shaky. What do we do? Okay, so that's couple A, Tony.
Sure.
All right, so you can imagine
It sounds
their
like a
feelings.
realistic scenario too. You've probably come across that in your years of
Absolutely,
being a
absolutely.
financial planner for people.
And then we talk, we solve their issue, we talk about that. And then the next appointment comes in, couple B, Mary and John as well. Well, surprise, surprise, same names. It's ironic. And they say, Dan, we have 500,000 to our name. We're 62. We're retired. 2022 has started off poorly. The market's volatile. We're not comfortable. We don't feel very happy about this. 2021 was great. Don't get us wrong. But 2022 starting a little shaky. By the way, our daughter just had a baby. And what we're planning to do is we're going to go up and live there for 3 weeks to help them get settled. And that's going to cost us, probably we factored in with flights and everything, about $1,200-$1,500. And we were going to go on that trip, but instead we're going to help the daughter. And so we're going to probably use some of that money there. But one thing we noticed is with COVID, and we actually spent a little bit less than we expected. So what we've seen is our checking account has actually gone up. So we have more in our savings account than we had projected. And we are wondering, is now a good time to put that money in the market, or is the market tanking? Should we wait a little bit more? And we said we were going to take 25,000 out of our 401k, but we don't, since we have so much extra, we have about 500 extra this month. Can we pause that? Should we take it out anyway? Is that a good thing to do? What do you say? We just not, but we still don't like the market. It's shaky. That's scenario B. So they have the same amount of money. They're the same age. They both had a daughter that had a baby. What's different, though, in that conversation? They're both concerned about the market, but what's the main difference that you observed between these two couples?
Well, couple B is smart because they're really wary to take anything out, and they aren't taking anything out, and they have other sources that they are willing to pull from because they know pulling from the market, their market money, when the market's tanking, is going to affect them more. Am I
You said
right in that?
yes, and You call them smart, but I'm not saying I'm not gonna say that the
Right.
first couple
Right.
is dumb. They just have different spending. They have
Right.
different spending habits. Couple A
Yeah.
is more spending, couple B is more savers. They have the same 401k balance.
But
So
neither one of
who's
them
better
should
off?
pull money out of the market while it's down, if they can help it.
Well, exactly. So building a retirement income plan, you should have other sources, and couple A does.
Right.
They're just like,
And that's what
but
you
they
do for people is you make sure if they're clients of yours, I know that they will have other sources for that money.
well, they'll have a plan. So if
Yeah.
we do have a correction, where are we going to pull money from? Do we want to pull it while it's going down? Do we have a choice? Do we pull from other sources that are more short term and aren't as impacted? Right. And so that's the conversation I have. But the point of the show is, does the size matter? And the answer is no. The size of their 401k doesn't matter. They both have 500,000.
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
matters
it
more?
really wouldn't matter. It really wouldn't matter if one had 300,000 and one had 600,000. If you pull money out of it while it's down, it can deplete it
If
quickly.
it comes down to what you're spending. They both
Yes.
had the same expected spend rate, but so the portfolio
But
is the same,
couple
the
A
spend
is
rate's the
wanting
same.
to spend or
They
has
wanna
already
change
spent
the
a
spend
lot
rate,
of money. Yep.
right?
Yep.
And they're changing the spend rate. So spending habits and lifestyle are much more important than 401k size.
I see your
You
point here.
you can have a pension, and therefore you don't need as much as a 401k. You can have a
Right.
lower spending rate. You don't need your 401k to be that much higher. Now, I'm not saying, "Hey, let's all be, you know, austerity here measures here. Let's all, like, hide and don't live in retirement." I'm a big
Mhm.
proponent of spending more in retirement. I'm a big proponent of that couple doing that Mediterranean cruise when they're 62 versus when they're 82. So, but the point is, the size of your 401k isn't what matters. What matters is what your income need is,
Got
because
it.
your income needs gonna determine whether or not your 401k or your retirement assets are enough. That's the conversation that you have. So what you
So
first do
everybody's so anxious to hear, how do I compare to the average with how much I have saved? And you're saying the size of the 401k doesn't matter.
no,
It's your
because
spending habits and your lifestyle that matters.
right, if I said 500,000 is what you need, we've done shows on this. I'll put it up here. We've done a show that talks about, how much is enough. It's a
Right.
silly question. And so these comparison things are designed to get people to read and click, right, for
Yeah.
advertisement, but it's also designed to or it's having the effect of changing how people feel.
Mhm.
And, "Oh, I feel better now because I'm okay." No, you're not okay. If you're looking at the average size of 230 and you're like, "I have 400, I'm double the average, I'm okay." That how? How do you know that?
You don't.
If you're spending 300,000 a year, you're not okay,
Yeah, exactly.
right?
Exactly. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but if
And
you're if
and
you're
and
sitting
people
on
don't like to take a pay cut in retirement either. So if they're used to a
no.
certain lifestyle, you got to watch out. So it's really the lowest habit. I think we should listen to Homer on this one.
My lifestyle is my retirement plan.
That's it. I've never heard that before. You're good. See, you all those years and dedication to watching adult cartoons have really helped you out, Tony. You really it's coming to fruition here. So, yeah, the question is, and maybe there's a survey out there, and that's what I'm gonna look for next. What is the average spend rate for a 55-year-old?
Yeah,
Right? That
55 to 65.
wouldn't
But
that be
that
more
range, yeah.
better? How how much am I spending compared to my peers versus how much do I have in my bank account? Like, that's a much more interesting question because that is gonna answer your lifestyle, right? And it's all relatives. If you're sitting here and saying, "Oh, the average 401k balance for 55 to 64 is 232,000. I only have 132,000. I'm gonna stress about this now. I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna add more to my savings, and I'm gonna freak out." That's not the answer either. The answer is,
No.
well, does your 132 provide enough for you if you were to retire?
Yeah.
Maybe you have a pension. Maybe you have other sources of income that you can use, right?
Yeah, you have to
That's
factor in
okay.
everything, Social Security,
Right.
everything, how you can
Right.
minimize taxes to make more money. But the bottom line is the answer is really, what should you do? Should you worry? No, you should pick up the phone and call Dan Wendell. You need a trusted financial services professional, a fiduciary who's going to look out for your best interests and really look at your personal situation and then come up with a plan, a written plan. Not just, I got a 401k, I'm covered. That's
Right.
not going to
And
cut it.
right, you're right, because what happens now, right now, a lot of people, they focus on the number, and their
Yeah.
advisors focus
Yep.
on the number, right?
Yeah.
They're nervous
Yep.
about the stock market going down because my 401k is going down. Yeah, I get
Yeah.
that. I get that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if your advisor's saying just hold on, and that's what they'll do, and
Yeah.
that's probably the smart move. But
Yeah.
if you don't have a goal, if you don't have an end vision of how much you need that 401k to be based on an income need, then you're
Right.
kind of just saying if it goes down at all, you're going to freak out. You're going to panic. So a lot of advisors use the 401k number. A lot of people use the 401k number as well to determine their success. I'm saying that's not how you determine success. You determine success by focusing instead not on what other people have in their 401ks, not on even what you have in your 401k. Focus on your retirement income, what that needs to be, and then work toward building a nest egg that will generate the income you need.
Mhm.
Very different way of focusing on it. And I'm saying these kind of comparison studies, hey, it's good data, it's useful to know, but it's really not, it causes more anxiety than it should. That's my point.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point. Very good point. Well made today. Good show today, Dan. And I think it was really important for people to understand that, again, I hate to beat a dead horse here, but you got to work with a financial services professional. You got to have a plan in place because your situation is different. And you want to work with somebody that looks at the big picture and your personal situation and doesn't just say, buy and hold stocks, buy and hold. That's not the answer for everything. The number isn't the answer.
Right. At some point, you're going to have to turn that number into income. So if you
Yes.
don't know how to do that, you're shooting blind. The
Yeah.
number's irrelevant. So,
Yes.
yeah. So, Tony, you're not stressed out now knowing what the average 401k balance is for your age group.
I
Right?
was never stressed out because
See?
I've got Dan Wendell on my
Yes,
side
Tony. Stress
over here. Yeah.
down,
Dan.
stress bad. All right. Thanks for a good show, Tony. Let me end by saying, Tony, right? Ooh, that's a first. No, not a first. Yeah,
Is there
having a
someone else
plan,
named Tony here?
having a plan is helpful, but specifically in this case, having a retirement income plan is much more valuable than having an actual number that you look at. Have a plan about what your income's going to be. Thanks for a good show, Tony. We'll catch you next week.
All matters discussed in today's show are for informational purposes only.
This show is not investment advice.
Dan Wendell nor Dolphin Financial Group are affiliated or endorsed by any government agency.
Investment advisory services are offered through Dolphin Wealth Management, Inc., a registered investment advisor in the state of Florida.
Insurance products and services are offered through Dolphin Insurance, Inc.
Dolphin Wealth Management, Inc. and Dolphin Insurance, Inc. are affiliated companies doing businesses as Dolphin Financial Group.
You should talk to someone at Dolphin Financial Group before implementing any of these strategies or ideas.